Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Boston Greeks podcast. I'm Ari, and with me is my co-host Fotisteimos. Hello, Foti.
Yasuari.
And today we have a great episode. We have an amazing guest. Let me turn it over to Foti so he can bring him on, and then we're going to get into a conversation. So thanks for being with us. Foti, what's going on?
Oh, just another lovely day, and super excited for our episodes because at Boston Greeks we actually get to meet new and interesting Greek Americans that are making big strides and impacts in our community. We're celebrating Greek Americans in our local communities that are doing great things with their businesses, maybe their foundations and organizations. But I think it's super important that we have representatives of our faith that are also part of our initiatives. And what better enough to have our guests with us? Let's welcome to the show. Let's bring on Father Alex Orphanos, the presiding priest over at St. George's Greek Orthodox Church in Lynn.
Hey guys,
Kalimera,
nice to be here
Father.
with you guys.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
And
Nice
thank
to
you
Our
for being with
pleasure.
us.
Awesome.
Foti, as you mentioned, we talked to a lot of influential Greeks. I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but is there at this point more influential people than the priests in our Greek Orthodox religion? I feel like the only reason I'm connected to my culture is because of the church and the priests, and so this is very important for us, and we're so happy to have you, Father Alex.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So can we just get started briefly with a little bit of history and your path to where you are today?
Sure. So my history is I grew up in Boston. I grew up at the Cathedral. My parents were very involved. My father was the Sunday school director for 30 years. I was in the altar from the age of 4. My mother was part of the Greek school PTA, Sunday school, all those things. And even my grandparents were involved. And it was just a part of our life. We made it a part of our life. So our daily week was involving the church once or twice a week, and everything else was extra.
So did you feel your path was basically set from back then? Was it ever a question? Was it always in your mind, or
Well,
did
I
you,
think
when you were little, did you want to be like an astronaut or a fireman or whatever?
sure. I had other dreams and aspirations. Wanted to own my own restaurant, wanted to be an architect at one point. I still dabble in that stuff as a hobby, but and I love to cook and I love to do those things, but something was always drawing me to the church, whether it be helping with my dad in the Sunday school, teaching at some point after I graduated high school, even before high school, working with the priest to run youth programs or participate in Goya basketball and other Goya and Joy and other things. It's just something that I enjoyed. And being in the altar, I mean, I was in the altar, it's very unusual, but from the age of 4. So, um, uh, but the clergy that I had growing up nurtured my interest and my want to be in the altar and to serve. And because I had that sense of respect and responsibility, they were able to have me at that age in the altar, holding a small little candle with altar robe that my yaya hemmed for me so that I could fit into one. And we just went from there, and I've been in the church ever since. Now, to answer your other question, was it always there? Sure, it was always there, but there was a battle for it through it all to get to where I am today. So I think it's a life you have to choose because.
When,
Go ahead.
sorry, when was it 100% a solid confirmation that this is the path you want to take? Were you like in high school, college? Was it before that?
So I think in high school, I was battling with the politics of church and the politics of being in the church, but not really realizing what it meant to be a priest yet because I was still a teenager. Fast forward, I started college my first year. I was at Mount Ida College. That doesn't exist anymore. But I was playing volleyball and just learning business management, business administration. I wasn't happy for some reason. Something wasn't clicking. So I transferred into Hellenic and I started my religious studies degree while still continuing with business as a minor. Um, and still was fighting that politics of the church. Didn't like it. Couldn't get around the idea of why is that involved in church? It shouldn't be, right? So finished my degree after transferring to Hellenic. my bachelor's, and I took 3 years off in between my bachelor's and my master's. You know, there's a lot of guys that are, you know, clergy now that went through from bachelor's to master's. It's a 7-year program, sometimes an 8-year program, depending on how you do it. And you know, that's great to go through from start to finish. I think I needed more world experience and more experience in the corporate world, more experience just learning other things, how people operate, and that kind of helped me get through the political, you know, mindset of the church that happens, you know. And
I mean, it makes sense. It gives you a more well-rounded kind of head on your
I think that's what
shoulders
I
to
was
be able to
looking for
attack.
because, yeah, that's what I was looking for because I think, well, it's well and good intended that the school, which is wonderful, it's a wonderful school, doesn't give us the opportunity to get well-rounded. You know, you have to go do it yourself. And I think that's what's missing sometimes. And I needed to do that for myself. And I did. And I took 3 years. I helped run the family business. My Uncle Ted had, you know, and family have run Dairy Queens for years. You know, I went back and taught at my coached at my alma mater, Catholic Memorial, and coached the entire volleyball program. Thought about going into teaching at that time. I was like, maybe I'll go into teaching and I'll do that in an interim because I'm still fighting that, you know, calling to become a priest. Worked in IT staffing at one point.
Wow.
Never done it before, but I was hiring executives at a high level, right? So it was a cool experience. I got to meet people. And what changed for me and what really hit me was 2013, in April of 2013. This was the turning point, Boston Marathon bombing.
Mhm.
And for me, I was there. I was across from the second bomb. I saw the carnage and the things that happened there. And I just said, why am I fighting this call to serve God when all this evil is going on in the world and I have to do something about it? What can I do? I need to stop fighting this call that God is asking me to go on in this journey that he's asking me to go on. So September of that year, I applied, started my master's. 3 years later, graduated, and then went to work in New York, met my wife in that time, and got ordained in 2019.
Wow.
And here I am today.
That's amazing. It's very interesting to hear like what are those like catalysts that like propel you where it was always on your mind, it was always in your life, but like something as specific as the marathon bombing could like make that kind of click, and it makes perfect sense. I mean, we saw a lot of evil that day. We've seen evil before, and we've seen evil since, and we need more people that actually make this a priority in their lives to battle the evil, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that's commendable. That's great.
And you know,
Absolutely.
Ari, to your point, it's you know, we always think about, you know, as we get older and the generations go around, like, you know, will they be inspirational individuals that want to continue to carry the torch of our faith as we immerse ourselves into the American culture? And you know, I use this word loosely, but as we dilute from years to years into the culture, you know, it takes individuals like Father Alex who can carry on the torch of our faith as we continue to live in this society.
Well, you bring up an interesting question now that we could pose to Father Alex. So as Foti said, you know, we grew up in the church. We grew up with all Greek friends, or like 99% Greek friends. Foti and I are married to Greeks. So we had this kind of vision, and now as parents, and we you know getting older, and we've been here a while, we kind of feel like our kids are not getting that kind of same cultural, you know, we take our kids to church, of course, but there aren't that many Greek kids around. There aren't that many Greek kids that they hang out with. What are the chances that they're going to marry a Greek? You know, it seems as years go on, that gets less and less of a chance. Who knows? But you, Father Alex, as the leader of your church and your community, do you see this? Is this a correct assumption? Do you worry about this? Is it something that you kind of have a game plan to try to see like what can be done to kind of keep that community together? Or is it a lost cause? I mean, I don't know. What are your opinions?
So listen, I'm the first to tell you, and I think people that know me know that I love being Greek. I love the fact that I'm Greek. I mean, I'm a third generation Greek, and I still can speak the language fluently. I can write it fluently, and not many people third generation can do that. Um, but there are those that can. Now, having said that, our culture is interesting because you know it's Hellenism is something that can be shared with everyone. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to come of Greek descent, right? So um, our culture can grow even with interfaith marriages, intercultural marriages, all those things. And I think to an extent that is happening in our church here in St. George. I think it's happening in other places too. But I don't think there's an emphasis on it only because I think people's priorities have changed and not for the better, unfortunately. I can tell you that, when we were growing up, like our life surrounded the church at one point or another during the week, and now it surrounds sports and everything else, and we've lost that sense of community
Mhm.
through our church, whether it be because people just don't have a connection or they've been turned off by a priest or they've been whatever it may be, they've been turned off by people or the politics like I was at one point in my life.
Mhm.
My goal is to mitigate those things, is to take those things that might deter people and um, show them a different path, show them that there is a way to make church and the community of the church a priority so that you can get that culture, you can get that faith, that faith base, and it should be a priority in your life.
I love that you said Hellenism, can welcome everyone, and even if it's interfaith marriages or whatever, like we still welcome them. That's so important, especially today. And I think the bonus of that is that I'm pretty confident in saying that when there's two cultures, Greek almost always dominates. So yeah, bring everybody in because you'll love to hang out with the Greeks and do the Greek thing and build the Greek church.
I have some Irish Catholic people that married Greeks. They become Orthodox. They're more involved than their spouses.
Yeah,
The
I've
Greek.
seen it. I've seen it, and I agree.
Run programs. They're here. They bring their kids to Greek school. I have like 40, 45 adults that want to have an adult Greek class. I'm looking for a teacher to come teach that class because I have like 50 adults that want to come do this.
Wow.
So that's where I'm at. And it's hard because you got to find these people who's going to do it, once a week, twice a week.
Well, you know what? I think that's a good problem. I'd rather have that problem than not have anybody in these classes. And you're like, where is everybody? But it's a problem, but that's a good problem.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. Yep.
So, Foti, what you
Well,
wanna?
yeah, I mean, these are all very important topics to discuss because I think our audience, I'm sure, who are listening, can connect with everything we're mentioning and the vision of Father Alex of, what is it going to take today versus what it used to take prior? Because as Father Alex has mentioned, our dynamic was so different. Because you mentioned we grew up with Greek friends. We went out with our Greek friends after school. We met our friends at Greek school, Sunday school, or at the Greek festivals. We hung out at Greek festivals, right? Now that dynamic has changed, so we have to also shift on our approaches because we can't fight the fight of, it can't always be how it used to be because obviously things are different. So we have to let go of that. We have to let go of yesterday and we got to embrace today. And we can be very strategic, as Father Alex had mentioned, some strategies that we can still accomplish what we need to keep us together. Because at the end of the day, all of our successes as Greek Americans, whether it's first, second, third generation, has been the focal point of the community around the church, right? It all starts from there. Marriages, business relationships, friendships, and so forth. If we remove that from our culture, I think then that dissolves our culture. Without
Absolutely.
that, I don't think we can't really be Greek without it.
Yep.
And I'm going to say one more thing, and then I want to kind of ask Father Alex another question. But as much as you and I fucking toil and battle with trying to promote Hellenic culture, it's the leaders, I believe, like Father Alex, that are the most important, tool for us to kind of get this out. So, Father Alex, we definitely appreciate your efforts, and we hope you continue, and we hope you are successful in keeping your community vibrant and alive, and bringing more and more people in, because I mean that would only be great for all of us as proud Greeks.
So I think, without the support of our Metropolitan Methodios, and he is a big proponent of not only the faith, but of course the faith, but the culture of the church, needs to continue. Not necessarily the Greek language, but the culture, because let's be honest, people are not going to come to church if they don't understand it, right?
Mhm.
The first place to kind of welcome people is to the church, and so that they can understand it. I've incorporated a lot more English at St. George, which is atypical of St. George, right? So, but it's starting to get people interested in not only learning Greek, but also learning more about their faith. I mean, I have yayas that only speak Greek, but they're like, oh, then though,
Mm.
because I've explained it to them in English and in Greek, but they've been coming to church for so many years and they still didn't know this, and this about the faith,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
it's touching little points like that. At the end of the day, guys, it's buy-in. People have to buy into the vision, buy into the fact that we are a church that needs people to come and buy into what we're doing. If you just come on a once a month or once a year basis, you're not helping the greater good, or you're not helping yourself become connected to the community,
Yeah. And for those that are listening, Father Alex and Ari, that you mentioned something in the very beginning. Church is not the priority because our children are involved in so many activities outside of church. So that's the priority at the moment. So maybe if we could take a step back for those that are listening, maybe out of all the activities that our kids are enrolled in, maybe we can make a conscious effort to maybe replace one of those activities with church, so that becomes a part as a starting point. And I think that could possibly make some differences if those that are listening could actually make that initiative.
Yeah,
Replace one activity.
once or twice a month. I mean, it's not hard, guys. It's not
Yeah.
hard. I mean, to come to church once or twice a month, to come to an event once or twice a month on top of church, it makes an impact on your kids. Because let's be honest, if I didn't have the faith or the church to fall back on in times of need, in times of struggle, my friends that I played sports with, or the things that I did, like, they're not always going to be there, but the church is always going to be there. It's
Good
always
point.
going to be there.
Good point.
And I've heard parents like tell me about sports, right? This community is like almost like abusive, because if you're not going to practice, or if you're not going to games, you're almost like an outcast.
Mm.
If you choose church over sports, you're going to be an outcast in that community. You really want to be a part of a community that outcasts you because you didn't participate in something? Has the church ever done that to you? No, right? I see people once or twice a year sometimes when I say, hey, it's nice to see you. It's nice to see you. Wonderful to see you. I hope to see you again soon. I don't say, I'm not going to talk to you, or I give you the side eye because you didn't come to a sports outing or something, right?
Mm.
But I have parents telling me that this happens. So why are you part of that community and not part of the community that wants to see you?
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. And I know it's tough. I get it. I mean, I have a son right now. He's going to be 3. We're expecting a baby girl in June.
Congratulations.
I don't thank you.
Congratulations.
I don't know what's to come from my kids, but I do know that church is going to be a priority, because not because I'm a priest, but because I know what it did for me in my life.
Mm.
Yeah.
It grounded me into a place where I know I'm going to be okay.
Very good
Wow.
points, Father Alex. Father, why don't we also mention, maybe can you tell us some things that are happening at St. George's that maybe you
Sure.
want to share with us that our audience can be aware of?
Sure. So I came in October of 22. What's this? 24. Yeah. So October 22. I wasn't expecting to be coming to St. George at first, but out of necessity and need of the metropolis, I was asked to come here, and I was excited. I mean, I was excited at the opportunity. I'm only the fourth priest in over 120 years here. So they have longevity with their priests. I stand on the shoulders of giants. They've done a lot of good here. They've perpetuated the faith in their own way, and they've built on, the people before them. And I plan to do the same. I can say in the last year, things have been going really well. From not having certain ministries that have been dormant for several years, we've now have a ministry for each age group of the church. So right down from 40 days old to 100. So we have a ministry for everybody, right? Church services. We've added some services. We've tried to make the services more succinct so that they're not taking forever, and people like that because they're out of church before 11 o'clock, on a Sunday, and they're able to have the rest of their day, and they can't make that an excuse anymore, right? Oh, we're going to be in church for 3 hours. Actually, no, you're not. You're going to be in church for 2 hours from start to finish. And that's with being in coffee hour before 11, so that's something that we wanted to try and work on. Not that we're mincing anything or we're cutting things out, we're just not dragging it out. It's more organized. So that's something we added. What else did we add? Messaging, trying to get the word out. Social media is a big useful tool that wasn't being utilized here. And just sharing what we're doing, the good things that we're doing. I mean, if you guys have seen our social media, there's a lot of vibrant events, kids, we're trying to bring people back to the church. It's shown because in the last year, we've increased by 70 new families.
Wow.
That have never been part of St. George.
Wow.
And
that's great.
Stewardship wise, we're up 11%. So over 60 members have increased their stewardship in the last year because they believe in the vision. They believe in the mission of the team. I'm not a miracle worker. I have a great team behind me. I have a great parish council that works with me that really they're really supporting me to get the work done. And it's a team of volunteers. I'm the guy on the ground working every day, right? But they're working too. And I'm going to people's businesses now. I started this thing called Father Alex on the Road last year.
Nice.
And I go to people's businesses and I go meet them where they are, because some of these people can't come to church because they're working. They're hardworking people, pizza places, roast beef places, auto shops, you name it, insurance agents, different things. I'm going to their businesses and I'm meeting them where they are. And then I'm sharing them on our social media saying, hey, this is our community member. Go support them.
That's great.
And we've gotten some great feedback about those things. And I think it's what the priest is supposed to do. They're supposed to go out into the community. They're not supposed to stay in this four-wall office or in the church and just sit there and do services and, sit in front of a computer. We got to go put our boots on the ground and go out to the people,
100%.
So that's what I've been trying to do. And it's going well. I mean, I can't complain. Again, like I've been very supported by our Metropolitan. He's a wonderful individual. I grew up in the ministries that he helped grow, the Metropolis of Boston Camp. It's something that molded me into who I am today. And I continue to give back to that. Last summer, I took a group of young adults to Greece through the Cosmos project that His Eminence has organized with the Metropolitan of Neapoli and Stavroupoli and Thessaloniki. We had a great time. We had a wonderful time. We experienced some really awesome religious sites. Those types of things, getting young adults involved. We had our first young adult event in decades here over Christmas. We went to Cuisina in Peabody.
Cool.
We had 45 young adults come for a meal just to hang out and to get to know.
Those are the things 100%, I believe those are the things you have to do. Everything you're listing is exactly what I would envision myself getting excited about when I was younger.
And I'm sitting there and I'm going table to table. I'm asking them, hey, what do you want this to be? What do you need from me? What do you need from the church? And believe it or not, they were answering the questions. They were saying, I didn't know this about the church. What does the church say about this? I struggle with this. Can we talk about that someday? Or can we have an event that talks about this, and this, whatever it be, contemporary issues, things that we're talking about in the world today. There's so many things. But you guys know, you see it every day, right? So the violence in the world, questions about so many different things that the church has views on, but also as people, how are we supposed to view these things as Orthodox Christians, right? And how are we supposed to treat people as Orthodox Christians? It's tough for young adults. It really is.
Yeah.
And when they're questioning where they want to be or how they want to be, we want to be that welcoming voice and saying, come find the answers here.
Father Alex, I'm gonna say something. We talk to a lot of Greeks. We've spoken to many priests. We've spoken to many people in the church. This is one of the few times where I actually feel more positive coming out of this interview as opposed to coming in, because we always discuss these types of things, and a lot of the times it's like it's just getting diluted. It's just going to be like a couple of generations. There's going to be nothing left. But after listening to you, like, I actually feel positivity about the church and our culture, prospering. So thank you for doing that.
Listen, Nadi, because if we're going to stay negative, if we're going to talk about, oh, the Pew report said this, or this is happening this way, yeah, we're going to perpetuate the same thing. So why are we going to do that? There's no reason for it. I mean, my church is full on Sunday. On a week where I thought it would be empty, I had more people, and I didn't even have an limosina to say that there was more people because of an limosina. I had a full church on Sunday. There was no limosina. There was nothing, so it's just like, okay, I mean, I'm just being a genuine, honest priest, and that's what people want. And I think we have a lot of those priests here in this metropolis that get it, that want to welcome people, not just this metropolis, across the archdiocese. We want to see people. We want to embrace them. We want to be there for them in their good times and their bad times,
Of course.
Amazing.
Well,
Father Alex, thank you so much for being with us. Sorry, Foti, go ahead.
I was just saying, this is great. We definitely need to bring back Father Alex at some point to discuss maybe some more detailed topics.
Sure.
I think
I mean, Father Alex is the guy to talk to. And again, this is just me listening to you speak, but you're young, you get it. You have ideas, things that I personally am in total agreement with. So, like, yeah, please, we got to have you back. We got to talk about more stuff.
Be great.
Maybe more specific topics, because I think you're a good person to talk to about these things.
Well, first of many more, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much for your time, Father Alex. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing all these insights.
Thank you for having me.
Please keep doing what you do. And the positivity brought in me, I think, will reflect in so many more who don't know you yet, but will get to know you. So thank you for that.
Sorry.
And Foti, thank you as well. And everybody out there, thank you for watching and listening. We had Father Alex, many more to come. We're sure of that. And we want to thank everybody for watching and listening. And we will see you all next time. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you.